Heyo. All right, everyone, we're back with another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger. That's Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we're gonna talk about what's colder than being or cooler than being cold, colder than being cool.
Ice
Whatever
cold.
it is, it's spiky ice from the ground in New York City because of climate change and a really angry metal ball. You know it, you love it, it makes you feel good. It's Ghostbusters Fallen Empire.
Bustin makes me feel good, and we're here to talk some more about it. And yeah, this is the movie that I don't know if it's accurate to say that this is something that you've been waiting for, but you've been looking forward to it, right?
This is the only movie this year that I've been like, I need to see that in theaters. I can't think of anything else I've seen in theaters in 2024. Can you?
Oh no. Seeing this movie, I saw it opening weekend. And I actually saw it on the Thursday. My youngest is a big Ghostbusters fan, and he brought his little Slimer with. He even dressed up in his little Ghostbusters outfit that my wife made for him out of an
Yeah, boy.
old fireman suit. I think that's what she did. But yeah, it was really cool. And he had like the little nerd Egon glasses, so he kind of looked like Egon from the cartoon. She even did his hair in like the little curly Q type thing, which was sweet.
Your wife's the best.
She is. I wish I had a mom that did that type of cool stuff with me, or even let me not let me, but even would get me like a costume or make me a costume. Like, no, I got the cheap ass shit, like where it was like, oh, here's a garbage bag. You could do this. Or like, oh, you can go as a hobo. Here's some old tattered clothes. Like, shit. Thanks,
So I
mom.
shouldn't tell you that I definitely had the red glasses and the zip up jumpsuit and the proton pack.
Oh, that's cool.
This is one of those properties where I was in the sweet spot for the toys. At that point in my life, I was an only child, so I had all of the toys, all of the guilt toys.
Ghostbusters was cool. I liked it. From our original podcast when we were doing the ranking and we reviewed Afterlife, I had said I'm not necessarily a Ghostbusters fan, and I guess that's an inaccurate statement. I guess like I'm not a fan like I am with the Marvel stuff and superhero stuff or John Wick. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference. I like it. I watched the cartoon when I was younger. I used to quote Ghostbusters a lot, and it was just a fun movie. But going into this was like an interesting thing because I was so refreshed after seeing Afterlife. I thought that movie was as perfect as it could be. You know, like taking a casual Ghostbusters fan like myself and just feeling the emotion of that. The whole Harold Ramis CGI thing was really great, but it was a nice closed loop for his story, I think. And going into this one was like, oh my god, it's got to be good, right? They're just gonna ride the wave off of the other one, and I think this is gonna be pretty sweet because after the last sequel, I think we were both pretty high on it. We both loved it, right?
I think I was just happy to see Ghostbusters, right? Like, when's the last time we got another one that didn't involve a completely different cast and garbage, right? Ghostbusters 2? Like, so it's been a minute, since the
Wait. Rewind that. Rewind that. So Ghostbusters 2 was garbage?
No. Ghostbusters 2016 was garbage.
Ah, okay. All right.
That was hot
You
garbage.
said you said Ghostbusters 2,
No, I
but
said that's the last good one we got. That's the one we got that wasn't just a brand new cast and hot garbage. We got the Scolari brothers, bro.
for all those listeners who have checked us out for a while, or maybe you haven't checked out that Ghostbusters episode, go back and check out our Ghostbusters ranking. And that was where I was just so frustrated and upset with Ghostbusters 2. Like, there's nothing I could say that was good about it other than making fun of the fact that there was a pink dick in the bathtub. That's what it was. So I despise that movie. I even got a comment. We got a comment on the either TikTok or YouTube where they questioned like, you hated Ghostbusters 2? Why? And I didn't have the strength in me to type out everything as to why I didn't like it. But yeah.
You say listen to the episode, jerk.
No, you know what I did? I think I did say refer back to the episode. I talk all about it.
Yeah, like and download.
So thank you all for whoever is listening and viewing us, both on YouTube, Spotify, and all the other places you get podcasts from. But yeah, here we are with another episode, Ghostbusters. What about the humor in this movie? Did you like it? Was it
Um,
up your alley?
I mean, it was so the last movie was good. I haven't rewatched it a bunch. I just looked past the fact that they used the same villain from the first one, and all that. I just kind of looked past it and was just excited that it was here. It was very much for me like a Force Awakens, if you
I was
will.
just gonna say they Force
Like
Awakened it. That's what they did.
we got it. We're great. I'm excited. That movie very much was a love letter to Harold Ramis, in my opinion. This one, oh my God, it very much hit all of the great Ghostbusters like quip and comedy and character throws in there. It was much more Ghostbusters-y to me. And there were so many Easter eggs that yeah, this movie was, in my opinion, more of my cup of tea.
I agree with the humor in the movie. Like there were some moments that I was laughing, some more than others. And I think you know exactly what part was my favorite part, and the part that I actually laughed out loud, and
Was
it
it
just
when
made
that
me
son
feel
of a
good.
bitch stole your line?
Oh yeah, yeah. Paul Rudd, he is such a God. He must be the coolest person. He really must be the coolest person because he just acts the way that all of us feel. And I think, he has like a funny version of dad jokes. He's
Yeah.
probably the funniest dad joker out there. I think that's something that I really appreciate from him. And of course, when he was fucking talking about it and reciting the lyrics, I was just, I couldn't hold my laughter in. And even my youngest kept on looking over and he was asking my wife's like, why is dad laughing? And then he said, Bustin makes me feel good. And then he did like a little pose in the theaters, like, all right, cool. Good for you.
I liked Paul Rudd so much more in this movie than any of the Ant-Man stuff he's done. I think that he just fits this and the gravitas of this cast, and he can just like get in there and work it. I definitely enjoyed Paul Rudd. But before we get too much into cast and characters, I've got to know, what's your version of the plot of this film?
Pretty awkward girl is now struggling with the fact that she's not a Ghostbuster because she got benched by old Dickless. And shenanigans ensue because the guy from Eternals found a glowy brass ball, and that was going to cause the end of the world. And I think that's when Phoebe suits back up and then she saves the world. Ta-da! That's
There
it.
you go.
I don't know. Sorry, man. I have no idea what the plot was
That's obvious, and it's obvious to all the
after.
listeners. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
So let's dig back into what you were saying about Phoebe in general, right? I agree. It was kind of an ugly duckling.
for
Uh,
sure. Absolutely, ugly duckling, nerd, weirdo. That's exactly what she was in Afterlife, right?
it was more of a I have no friends. I need friends
Yeah, sort
kind
of.
of
Yeah, I
thing.
mean, I don't think she didn't think she needed friends. She was just happy and content with her weirdness. And both my wife and I really like that aspect of her. She was like, "Oh, I wish we could adopt a girl like her." I was like, "Yeah, cool. That'd be
As
cool. We
your
could, we
sons are
could,
like, fuck.
yeah, like what the hell, mom?" Yeah, I thought that was really awesome. And so that's the thing that I was missing in this one. It's like literally, it's the she's all that complex of like, you could tell that like all she needs to do is take off her glasses, and then all of a sudden she's gonna be prom queen. And yeah, that's that's what
See,
it seemed like to me.
I didn't get that feel. I didn't get that feel at all.
I mean, she
I got
acted a lot more grown up and not as
well,
nerdy
yeah, but
and awkward.
I got the Rodney Dangerfield. No respect. No respect. I get no respect. That's what I got. How'd you feel about how they opened this movie? Because they needed to move from the country to the city. They needed to get there, but they decided to bring in a new old ghost.
Why not? Right? I mean, you need something fast to get you into the swing of things because it's a time jump, obviously, both for visual reasons because all the kids are older now, and also like, okay, well, how how do we go from the country to New York? And so I thought the opening
The
was good
flashback.
that way. Yeah, because
My
like I
wife
think
loved the
that's
flashback, but she wanted to know where Elsa was because basically
Elsa.
they did Frozen in the beginning of this.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got you. So
They
that
closed
that
the gates.
I'm fine with some jumping around with stuff because I mean the last few movies that we've watched have been like crawl or this is how things happened and then that's how it goes. So I was perfectly fine with seeing some nostalgia, seeing some old footage in the flashbacks, and then jumping into the thick of things. So yeah, I'm good with it. No problem whatsoever. What about you?
I just like that they introduced something new. They did the opposite of The Last Jedi, right? The Last Jedi just, we're going to kill everybody and we're going to make up some dumb shit.
Even if it's on fire, we're not going to piss on it. We're just going to let it
That's
burn.
it. That's it. Who cares? We're not going
Obviously
to
not Ryan
create
Johnson.
powerful characters. We're gonna dig them out. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that part of it. I loved that they went even as they showed they centered around the firehouse, right? Because initially I'd heard that they were going to write something that centered around Ecto One, and I was like, how how can you string a movie through a car, but stringing it through the firehouse as an anchor worked for me in so many ways.
Yeah.
As soon as we got back to the present, you got old Dickless. I was like, "Ee, it's Peck."
Yeah.
Did you recognize him right away?
Oh, for sure. I was just surprised that he was on such good terms with them. Has been an enemy with them for the longest time, right? Like he's never been a fan of theirs.
Well, he was trying to
And
close him down.
yeah. And so now in this one, he's kind of like all of a sudden he's the opposite of a politician. He's kind of a good guy where he's like, I'm willing to let this happen, but you got to bench your daughter. Like,
I
what?
think that he was,
Really?
but he also like he condemned the firehouse too. He wrote the remember because they went back in,
Yeah. Yeah.
so he
But
condemned their headquarters, not knowing that Winston had a special ghost aquarium ready to go.
like I said, it was cool to see him. I thought he was going to be a little bit more abrasive to everyone, and I thought that there would be a little bit more interaction with him and Venkman to just keep that banter.
They saved it to the end, and I was just like, yes, because jumping ahead, which we do because we don't do anything linear here on this podcast. Jumping ahead to when they do finally bring those two together, I leaned over to my wife and I'm like, somebody's gonna call him Dickless. They're gonna do it. They have to do it. How could they not do it? And sure enough, it wasn't him. It wasn't Peter. So yeah, I loved just how many
So
throwback characters they brought into this.
who called him Dickless then?
Somebody in the crowd.
Okay, that's what I thought. Like I knew it was like someone inconsequential to everything, and so I heard it. I chuckled, but I like completely forgot about it. Almost very similar to when Venkman called him Dickless in the original movie. Like it's a hilarious line, but the first time that you watch it, it's not the one that really sticks out, right? It's
This
like
man
after a few
has no dick
times.
sticks out
Yeah.
to me. I love it. I don't know. Maybe because that's one of the VHSs I had as a kid and
Yeah.
wore that motherfucker out.
It wasn't until like high school and college that I really appreciated that line, and I thought it was
Oh,
so funny. It's probably because I watched Ghostbusters. I mean, you and I were both the same age, or around the same age that we were first
yeah.
watched it. And yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I like it. But the
So
returning actors are all freaking sweet. I'm surprised that they got as many as they did. It was cool to see Janine in there,
she played a
and
big part.
it was cool to see her suit up. Like that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome that they did that. And I was a fan of it. It was so crazy to see like Callie Spengler suit up and everything too. It was just like,
Yeah.
all right. I guess she
Everybody
really
gets a jump suit.
forgave. Yeah, she forgave her dad really quick and just like, I'm gonna be a Ghostbuster too.
Oh,
Which did
well,
that bother you at all? Is that any
now I don't care.
no?
Not even that was the least of my problems with this movie, right? Um, I loved seeing the old cast back, right? You got pretty much everybody. You got Bill Murray, which his entrance and bit was great. We'll get there. I loved how much Dan Aykroyd was in this movie. You know I do. Ernie Hudson. I love that they went from the part-time Ghostbuster to like the CEO, the Bezos of Ghostbusting.
So I have a slight not problem with it, but like I had an uneasy feeling in the theater as I was watching him. Did you get like, oh, are they gonna make turn Winston into kind of like a bad guy here? Because he's like doing all this research on stuff, like I've got secret staff and whatever. And I was just thinking, like, oh, Winston's gonna be the reason why the city goes fucking under. Like, I think he's gonna fucking play around too much, but they didn't do that. But
No,
I thought
well,
they
they
could have.
mentioned it in the last one that Winston was the one that was paying for Egon stuff, and like
Yeah,
Winston has been the shepherd of this. And Ernie Hudson, do you know how old Ernie Hudson is?
72, right? Something like
Ernie
that.
Hudson is 5 years older than Bill Murray.
He
He
looks
was
fucking
born in
fantastic.
1945,
Yeah.
and he looks like the
He
youngest Ghostbuster.
they were showing pictures of him on social media, and there's like Ernie Hudson looks like he hasn't aged since the first
No,
Ghostbusters, and he looks
no,
in good shape. Good shape, Ernie Hudson.
I love me some Ernie Hudson in this movie, and I love that they brought him in. All of the original, I just enjoyed,
So
and
no, wait, hold on, wait. But so at no point did you think like Winston might be
never.
like the cause of the downfall or anything? He was starting to act like, all those the typical bad guys in movies that start out like good. All of them had money, all of them had power, all of them were doing research, and then something doesn't go right. And that's what I thought that they were going
Well,
towards. Like,
they
how are they doing
telegraphed.
this?
So one of the things about this movie, it was semi-telegraphed, right? You knew when they showed you the stuff when you went to the ghost aquarium that what was going to go wrong is they're going to put the circle in the vacuum thing, and that was going to be a thing, right? You knew that was going to
Yeah.
happen, and you knew that the power was going to be a problem because that was a throwback to the first Ghostbusters, right? Why'd everything screw up? Because of Dickless turning off the power. That's just facts,
It's
right?
true. This man has no dick.
So there was that, and you kind of knew that was coming, and there were other moments that like there were a nice surprise, but you kind of saw them coming. But I mean, in total, I there were still some pretty good surprises. There were a few lifts from other movies that we'll talk about, but we talked about the old cast. What do you think about the comeback of basically the entire new cast? You'd mentioned that you weren't a fan of Kelly Spangler picking up the old jumpsuit.
No, I didn't have a problem with it. I just was like, oh, she really forgave Ghost Dad. Not the Bill Cosby movie, but
We don't
her
forgive
dad
him.
who was a ghost. Yeah. That was just like very, very surprising and very convenient, right? Like I totally get it. This isn't like a dramatic series at all, but there was some drama within the Spengler family for sure in the last one. And I don't know if that just goes away after you see Ghost Dad and then he just gives a nod and he disappears. I don't
Well,
know.
obviously
Does
it
does
does.
it?
Obviously it does. And maybe she got some
In this
counseling.
world, it does.
Maybe she got some counseling. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. But
Yeah,
that's
true.
who knew that Gary was going to be the live-in undefined dude.
I did like his willingness to respect the boundaries of the kids. Like he didn't want to, come in and be the dad, but also at the same time, he also realized like, oh no, I can be mean. I can. It's just the back and forth between it's like the plotting against the kids, or at least a jockey for position. I thought was really clever, and I don't know why a lot of people don't do this now. Like,
I think it's just relatable, right?
yeah,
Like, who's going to be the bad guy here? We got to figure this out. And as a dad, you know that sometimes the wife's just like, you got to, it's you now. You go do the thing. And like, how hard is it to come into? They outlined the stepfather role very well, right? Like, It's not a it's a thankless job.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of risks. Lots of risks, very little
Yeah, yeah.
reward. But
But
when the reward does come, it's worth it.
like the only thing that was a little off for me was the flip flop on roles, right? Normally you'd think that the boy child would be the more rebellious one
Yeah.
and the girl child wouldn't be, but Finn was just down.
Yeah, he was up for whatever.
He's just
Whatever.
cool, man.
Hey, check out this check out this pole in the in the firehouse. And it was cool to see them as kids still. So that is
Yeah.
something that I liked. But like I said, I did like for the rest of the cast, so convenient that podcast is there. But I did like the fact that he does episodes with Ray. That was really
Oh yeah,
cool. That
no.
was so
They
fun.
made him the new Dan Aykroyd of this. So
Yeah, pretty awesome. But what about you? New cast? Any thoughts? Any critiques?
I honestly the carryover cast I didn't mind. There were two new new famous faces brought into the mix that I have both positive and negative feelings about. My challenge to you is to guess which is which. First, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Kumail and Patton, right?
Correct.
Patton Oswalt and Kumail
Correct.
Nanjiani.
Correct.
Say the line again before.
Which one? Which one can I do all day, and which one would I like to remove from the movie?
I think you're going to remove Kumail from the movie. You would want to remove Kumail from the movie.
Nope.
Really?
I thought this was his
Surprising.
absolute best movie.
Interesting.
This was
Interesting.
the thing I've loved him in the most
Okay.
that I've seen recently.
Is there
Better than
any outside
Turtles.
influences that are happening because of that?
I don't know.
Like
I don't
whatever
know,
Patton
but
Oswalt has been tweeting or anything like that? Or
no, I don't. X
that's
X don't give it to me. Um,
uh
I just
but he's gonna give it to you.
the Patton Oswald character was like they were trying to fill in Egon's like extra nerdiness, but it was really kind of a Ray thing to be
Yeah.
able to understand that. And I don't know. I feel like you could have picked a better actor to do it.
Can I be honest right now?
Yes.
I don't remember Patton Oswalt being in this movie.
Patton Oswald was the one who told him what the little ball was and
Oh
where
no,
all
no.
the
I
stuff was.
I know like after you saying
Yeah.
that he was in this, like it wasn't until I saw like the cast list, I was like, holy shit, he was in that movie. And I didn't remember it all at all. But good for you for liking Kumail Nanjiani's performance in this because I thought like, ooh, Mark's not gonna like this. He's a little too funny, he's a little too fresh, and it's a little too convenient that he's got fire powers. But I liked it. I like him as an actor. I don't know if you've ever seen that dramatic comedy that he was in that was kind of like based off of his real life. I really like that movie. And if you like his performance in this, I think you'll appreciate his range in that movie along with his humor. So,
Talk about the Lovebirds.
Lovebird, whatever it is. Yeah. Lovebirds, that's what it is.
I haven't seen it. I haven't, but maybe
I
I will.
like that movie because of the fact that I can relate to it so much and the fact that like there's a white woman and a non-white male. And there's obvious some things that are amiss with some things, whether it's on perception, but also things that happen in life. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
And also he was
Yeah.
in this. I don't know if you've ever seen this. He was in this movie. It like spans over a lot of time, but he's one of the characters in it, and he's super powerful. And it also kind of revolves around the evolution of Earth. And so I think you might like that. It's a really, really cool movie. If I remember the name of it, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that sound interesting to you at all?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, because it's fucking Eternals. That's
Oh,
why.
that movie
So you
sucked.
should probably watch that
No,
again
that
because
movie sucked.
that movie was not
It was
the best
terrible.
Marvel movie. That
It
movie was not
wasn't
the
the
best
best
Marvel movie.
anything movie.
It is
Aquaman
better.
2 was better than it.
No, no,
Yes.
no
Yes.
fucking way. Get out of
Wait.
here.
Wait. Let's not talk
God.
about that shitty movie. Let's continue to talk about this great movie. in Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
All right.
We got the cast, we got the thing, and there were so many other Easter eggs in this movie that were just everywhere. Did any stick out to you that you were just like, yeah?
No, no. Other than the Paul Rudd reciting the song, um, I mean, I there's a few times where I chuckled in the movie, but there was just something. I wasn't having a bad time in the movie. I was having a good time. I was there with my family, eating some popcorn. Even had those overpriced Pizza Hut pizzas. Like I said, you love Ghostbusters,
Do
and I like it. I like majority of them, and there's something that I like out of each and every movie. But yeah, I couldn't pick that stuff out just because I don't appreciate as much as you do. Not a bad thing.
uh,
It's just the difference in how I viewed the movies.
did you enjoy seeing Stay Puft back? The little Stay
Oh,
Puffs.
of course. Oh, fucking of course.
Talk
Like
about
I was
just like
hoping
we just want to sell more pops.
Yeah, I was hoping there was going to be a bigger. I mean, it was a pretty big role, so they know what to hit on.
Oh,
Like, what makes a Ghostbusters movie a Ghostbusters movie? Stay Puffs, some Slimers, some weird ghost stories that spook them but really don't do anything to them. Like that's what they do.
did
And
did you
yeah,
did you when they first brought Slimer in, like did you see it coming? Were you because as soon as they showed the pile of junk food, I was like, oh shit, oh I know what this is. I think it's gonna be, and it was.
so my youngest is a big Ghostbusters fan, and I guess he's only 6, but he's gotten pretty good at like searching for stuff on
Yeah.
YouTube. And so he had mentioned like, and Slimer's going to be in this one. I was like, okay, I guess Slimer's going to be in this one. And so when I saw the junk food, like, yep, okay, Slimer is there. But what I don't understand is Slimer good? I know in the cartoon he is. But what the hell is he? And why is he just allowed to just hang out at the firehouse?
Hey, hey, now you're doing the thing where you try and bring reality into this because technically
But
he
it's
should be in the containment unit.
it's never been addressed. Like that's the
No,
thing. Like I'm okay with him
well,
being
no,
out.
he got out in at the end of
The
the first movie
Yeah,
when Dickless
but
shut the power off.
it's like he's there and he's harmless and they just let him eat a bunch of shit. Like that's the thing that I don't quite
I don't
understand
think they
about
knew
it
he was
is
there.
I mean, that's a lot of fucking food and a lot of noise and a lot of ectoplasm to not know something's up.
You
For
know, nobody was there. It was
Ghostbusters,
abandoned for a minute, dude. They just got back in there.
they've been there for 3 years.
Well, Finn had just started looking why his ceiling was leaking.
It's been there for 3 years, man. I don't know. I
Uh,
don't know what to tell you. And you're telling me that that short period of time, that's where all the food came from? Like, no, it's amassed over the 3 years, and they've been there for 3 years. And so I don't know, man. I'm cool with Slimer, right? I was hoping there was going to be a little bit more collaboration
yeah,
like in the cartoon. Like, hey,
there could be
Slimer,
later.
give us a fucking, give us a bone here and help us with these fucking ghosts and how cold it is. Turn the thermostat up. I don't
Yeah,
know.
just can you run the thermostat? Handle the
Something.
best, dude.
Yeah.
Um,
While you're getting your next Snickers bar, kick it up a few degrees.
I know we talked about some of the toy line and stuff like that. I loved that they gave Ray the Ecto C, which like it's not an exact situation, but they had a sidecar motorcycle back in the day. Like it was a toy. And I just love that. I love that they just let him kind of do his thing.
I was
Uh
wondering, like, I remember seeing that, but and like I couldn't get it. Like, this has to in the theater. I was thinking this has to be a callback because why would they just randomly put that there just to make him look like an ass clown?
yeah, no.
Like,
Callback. Callback. Speaking of callbacks, two great ones that I loved. One, they didn't bring Rick Moranis back. Sadly, I missed him. I was like, he was in a Mint Mobile commercial. Maybe he'll come back. He didn't. But his helmet came back, and it
I
worked.
was, yeah, I was hoping Rick Moranis was going to be in it. Even
Yeah,
for like, I was thinking that like, oh, end credits. Here we go. Let's just set it up. End
yeah,
credits. But
yep,
no.
yep. Dude, they got the ghost and the librarian from the first movie to come back. They couldn't get Rick Moranis.
It's funny with the callbacks. I was listening to a podcast. Shout out to Devin Davis for who does the Level Down podcast. I was listening to one of his episodes, and he was talking about in the trailers, like, "Oh, you see some ghost titties in there." It's like I never thought about that, and like I saw the trailer. Never did it occur to me that there'd be ghost titties in there. And after I heard his episode, I was like, okay, I got to go watch the. And keep in mind, I was listening to this at like 5 in the morning, and I was on the way to the airport. And I was like, okay, I guess, I'm not going to say I was texting and driving, but I definitely YouTubed and drove. And I saw that, and I was like, yeah, those are some ghost breastises. And so I was like, huh.
Where?
How do you get away with that? You didn't see that?
No.
No, like the ghost like comes charging at Ray, and then the blouse drifts open.
Oh,
And
I
so
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. I know it's weird, weird stuff. But yeah,
Weird
that
stuff.
that happened.
You would notice ghost titties.
I didn't notice it. But like I said, shout out to Devin over at the Level Down podcast. He brought that to my attention. I didn't even think about it. So yeah, I'm not the weird one. I'm
It's
not the weird one.
Devin.
You're
It's
weird for
Devin. Your
no,
friend.
you're weird for denying it because you
Yeah.
know damn well that you saw it. But check out the Level Down podcast. It's entertaining popcorn mixed trick of stuff on other episodes. So
Oh man.
good for you guys.
You and Devin, your ghost friend, definitely, you'll be good buddies. But speaking of ghost friends and just maybe things that were not amazing in this movie, what Martha'd you in this movie? What was your fucking really? What was your moment? It can't
So
be
there
ghost.
were nothing Martha'd me. I was pretty okay with everything. I will say there was the dad in me is coming out now. So this is where the it didn't bother me in terms of like I wasn't outraged by anything, but it did bother me just a tiny, tiny bit, or at least maybe a little bit uncomfortable when Phoebe and her ghost uh girlfriend were getting like super close to each other. And I was like, the dad in me is just like, no, no, you're too young. No, no, don't do anything. No. And yeah, that's the only reason I was like not even perturbed. I was like a little bit of cringe factor as I was leaning back in my seat, like, oh no, 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 no. Because I still want to protect the innocence of the character. That's what it was. It wasn't like I have no problem, do whatever. And I want to say I don't know if she's 18 or older. McKenna Grace, but I was just thinking from the character perspective of like, yes, this character is still in high school, and like I still wanted to see that little nerdy, awkward girl because I just thought that character was like the best thing for the franchise, and it was so fresh and so new, and I just like that stuff. But that's just me. What about you?
The ghost friend thing got a little too like didn't bother me. It was a good plot device, and the double cross was great from
It
my
was
end.
long in the tooth, though, right? I mean,
There's
that's
a lot. They pulled it. They pulled the taffy on that a lot. Endgame made references to Back to the Future being the explanation for all time travel in movies. Apparently, Ghost is the explanation for all ghosts in movies. You have unfinished business, and I can touch things. I just have to think about it and manifest it. I'm like, did it? What did you know? Are we gonna do some clay pottery? Like, what's going on here? Where's Whoopi? Get somebody find Whoopi. Uh, that was the thing that got me in this. And it didn't bother me per se. It was just like oh, so you got a little lazy in the writing. You went for Ghost. Got it.
I had no I really didn't have any issues with it. Like it was, but I totally I think I'm on the same wavelength as you to where it's just like, hmm. And then that the dad in me was just like, nope, nope, do not take this character's innocence and have her like have like, a kiss with a ghost or whatever the hell it was that they were trying to do. Because that was what was happening, right? I'm not just imagining that shit. Like there was, or at least at the very least, there was like an attraction just to a bond. Maybe not a sexual attraction, but just like I need a friend and you're a friend and I like
Get
you.
your head out of the gutter. Get your head out of the gutter. They were friends, and they wanted to hug like friends do.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. It's not a sexual thing. It was a bonding thing.
It's a
So
chess thing.
I don't know why you needed to correct me when I didn't. I specifically
Well,
said
the
that
whole
wasn't the
audience wanted
case.
to correct you. The whole audience was taking it. Yeah,
I have no idea what you're talking about half the time. No
I
idea. No
same,
idea.
same. I make it up as I go along. I didn't. Upon reflecting on the movie, the ghost friend plot moved along the story, but wasn't this like big pivotal piece, at least to me. Ended up being cool as she had a match. And then conveniently, we needed fire. And nobody else had fire, but she had a match. They're like, okay, we've got enough. We're running out of special effects budget. Do the fire thing now. There weren't acts to the final battle. It was the final battle. Like they did all the entrances, which were cool. Like who didn't love Bill Murray showing up and going immediately for his pint of Jack that was hidden in the wall?
It's fine.
Just fine. That's it.
So I mean, like it's a Venkman thing. So it's like if it's in character and he's just kind of like a scoundrel and kind of like scumbag anyways, like I would expect him to stash alcohol around the firehouse. So it like didn't bother, like it didn't make it seem like, yeah, that's Venkman. Like it's like, yeah, that's Peter. That's all. That's
But
all
what
it
I'm
was for me.
saying is the other thing that rubbed me a little bit wrong is it was so short. Like they went right to the Avengers Assemble moment. They
They
didn't
did.
have like the initial fight or the initial piece. It was nope, we're getting there right now.
Yeah. And there wasn't even a struggle to work as a team, right? It
No,
was just
they're just
like,
like,
all right.
hey, we're all wearing the same shit. Let's go.
Yeah.
And like they failed with the proton pack didn't work. It wasn't the character that failed that fixed it. It was Phoebe. And she was just like, oh, I got this, no problem. I love that they made the poll such an important part of the resolution. And I don't think they hit that home a lot. I think there's some deleted scenes about that later, right? Like she was like, it's the poll, but it's gonna work. Like that was so cool and such like half a throwaway to me,
Yeah.
in a way.
I could see that.
But yeah, the resolution was a little slow for me, but I mean, damn, it was good. What do you think? Do you have your favorite line still? Bustin makes me feel good.
Of course. Of
Bill Murray
course.
didn't get you with tall, dark, and horny.
I thought it was very Venkman and very Bill Murray. So it's not that I didn't like it. I just expected that type of line from him.
Yeah,
So that's just what I think of as Venkman is just like, okay, where's the crude humor? Obviously, Peter's gonna say something. And so it's just like, all right, wait a second. There we go. There it is.
yeah.
I don't dislike it.
I want to know where Sigourney Weaver was too. She
Yeah.
was in the last one. Her kid should be old enough to be a Ghostbuster now. Like,
What
let's
kid?
go.
Like, well, kid? Huh?
Oscar,
I know,
Vigo.
right?
That
Yeah.
was another. Like, did you see the slime blaster in the background at the Ghost Aquarium? They were testing it randomly. Like they
No.
threw that in. The only thing you didn't see is Vigo. I was like, is
They
Vigo getting
did.
out? Where's Vigo? Vigo just
I
is
mean,
dead. It's
they
over.
did mention the Scoleri brothers, so I'm sure you got a
Yeah,
kick out of that. So
yeah. And they did go to the Statue of Liberty a few times. Like they mentioned it. And I was just like, yeah,
God.
yeah. Where's the Jackie Wilson? Let's go. Based on everything you saw, do you need another one? Like, I didn't think I needed this movie. I thought like, oh, is it gonna be good? Is it gonna are we gonna start, are we pulling it too far? Are we pulling the taffy too much? Is this gonna hold up? And I loved it. I'm like, after the Swan song for all of the OGs, like, are they even gonna come back for another one? Because I don't know if I love a Ghostbusters movie that's all new crew. What do you think?
I'm fine with whatever they do because as long as Jason Reitman is involved somehow, I think it'll still be a serviceable movie for fans, right? And I think at this point now, I'm cool with just making a movie for fans because there's a lot of shit that's being made, and I don't know who the hell it's for. So I'm okay with making movies strictly for the fandom, even if it's not me. I'm okay with that 100% because I think that's something that people are missing in a lot of content now is that legitimate fans. Like you might watch a TV show, you might binge a season or seven, depending on your social life. But would you say that you're a fan of some of those? Like my wife watches that You show on Netflix, and I've seen every episode with her, and I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I've seen it. So it's not like I really want something new from that. But for Ghostbusters, like, yeah, I'll keep on cranking out the content. I'll continue to watch it. Very much like Star Wars, Marvel,
But that's the
DC.
all of those are examples of are you squeezing too much out of it? Are you stretching the taffy too much? Let's be honest.
That's
If they announced tomorrow that they were killing the sequel trilogy, making it Legends and coming out with something new, like there'd be a lot of people that are okay with that.
this is something that I can say that I'm a fan of, and I'll continue to watch it. So, do I need another one? No. Is another one welcomed? Sure, absolutely.
How'd you
What
feel
about
about
you?
the message? The everybody makes mistakes. It's okay.
It didn't really stick with me.
Got you nothing. What about the
No,
shoplifting?
there was shoplifting in this movie.
Sure.
What? What shoplifting? What is this pivotal to the plot?
No, not at all. It was just a
Okay,
throwaway. I just thought it was
I have
funny
no.
that they're like,
What was the shoplifting? I have no idea what you're talking about.
it, podcast mentioned it. It was part of the at Ray's thing. It's fine. We can
Okay.
move past it. I
Yeah.
just thought you'd
Sorry.
remember it because it
Sorry.
was funny.
Like I said, this is something that I just didn't pick up on a lot of, and it's been a while since I've seen it.
That's okay. I'm not going to mansplain Ghostbusters to you. It's all right. It's all right. I mansplained it enough to my wife. So I think that leaves us with one more question. Dan, when it comes to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, does bustin' still make you feel good? Can you do this all day?
It was funny. I liked the cast. The score I thought was really good. That put you in the mood for everything. However, when it comes to rewatchability, I don't know if I will watch it because I want to watch it or because, man, I don't remember shit about that movie. I guess I should rewatch it because I don't know. That's
That's
where
funny.
it's like, there's movies that you don't remember because you fall asleep or because you're so out of it and you're just not interested in it. That was neither of those things for me. I was content on watching it. I wanted to go watch it. I went on opening night. I had my Bustin' Makes Me Feel Good t-shirt on. So I was in the mood. I was in the mood to bust. But when it came to this movie, I left, like, that was good. And I couldn't tell you why it was good. I could tell you why it didn't live up to my expectations or why I had some critiques about it, but I had a good time with it. But to be quite honest on this one, I'll have to say, no, I cannot do this all day because Afterlife was really perfect, and it could have been a send off for the Ghostbusters franchise. And so, yeah, is it entertaining? Sure. Ghostbusters fans will appreciate it and like it, but I cannot do this all day. I don't even know if I could recommend this movie to just to people in general.
Jeez.
I'll recommend Afterlife, no doubt about it. This one, not so much.
Wow. I couldn't disagree with you more. I can absolutely do this movie all day. You don't even have to ask. And I enjoyed Afterlife as a nice send off to Harold Ramis, but it left the rest of the team in like a little bit of a different area. This brought them there. You got to see what the next step of the Ghostbusters is. There's like a set and a rhythm and a why to how it lives on and moves on in both the heart of New York and the city and all of it. Like I loved it. Loved it.
Okay.
Can't wait to watch it again. Loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you. I just don't think it was. I don't even think it was as good as the first one.
Oh,
Keep in mind, I really like the new cast, so I'm like, okay, cool, awesome, and I like the old cast too. So I'm like, oh, double the fun. Here we go. This is just going to be like a Ghostbusters orgy. This is Bustin will make all of us feel good, but this was just it was good, but nothing that was super memorable to me. I will say, uh, McKenna Grace still is a. I want to say she's probably just like the highlight of the last two movies. Last one for sure. Um, Kamil is like right there behind her. I think in
he
this
was
one.
so good. Like I'm normally not like I don't. I'm not an advocate. Like everything
Careful,
else, he's a little over
careful.
the top. Everything else, he's a little over the top. In this, they just wrote for him, and it was great.
It was good. It was very very good. I liked his portrayal, and I just like his sense of humor. But with I did I will say that Carrie Coon, who played Callie Spengler, was at least a little bit more tolerable in this one.
I thought you'd
And I
say
would
that.
even say a lot more tolerable because she's just more likable in this one, right?
Well, she
The
wasn't
last
just
one,
a sketchy bitch.
yeah, she was just so anti, everything. It's like
She's
I
just
hate my
all about
dad.
busting.
Yeah, but Paul Rudd, yeah, he can do no wrong. I like I said, they make another one, I will watch it. That's a promise, but at
This
the
was
same time, I totally understand why someone wouldn't necessarily want another Ghostbusters. But yeah, that's life. That's art.
that's art. This was by far the best Paul Rudd movie in a while, by the way. Like the Ant-Mans, they were losing me. They were losing me. This,
I don't know, man. I think I'll say that Ant-Man was better than this because it's more
oh,
memorable, at least. That's the thing that for me is a big one is how well you remember a movie after you walk out of it. And granted, it's been a while since I've seen it, but even as I was walking out, it was one of those movies where it's like, I'm gonna have to Wikipedia and just make sure I got everything.
so
And
what
I
you're
I
saying
did.
is you agree with Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes, and IMDb.
Well, so yeah, I would say those are pretty fair assessment scores. So you got 6.4 for IMDb, 43% for Rotten Tomatoes, 46 for Metacritic. Once again, Metacritic is that weird one. It
Right.
always throws you for a loop, right? But I would say that's pretty accurate for IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes is what it is. Yeah, but IMDb I stand by, and that six range is yeah, you can watch it. It'll be it'll be entertaining. Might not be memorable, but it'll be entertaining. You'll escape the real life for a couple hours. And so yeah, what about you? I mean, do you think those ratings are inaccurate? What would you rate it as?
Oh, I thought it would be higher. I thought it'd be in like the sevens.
Okay.
Was it a 10? No, but I thought it would be higher there. I did. I did, but
I believe this is the lowest rated Ghostbusters movie out of the entire franchise,
it might be.
if I remember correctly from reading a headline. But yeah, it's interesting. Like I don't think this is the worst movie by
You know
far.
what
I
you
don't think
think
this
is
is the
the
worst
worst
movie.
movie?
I am. Oh yeah, that's right. It's the second one. Even the logo said that this movie sucks twice as bad as what you'd think it would.
Uh,
So yeah, it's
uh,
not a
you're the worst.
or the best, depending on how you look at it.
Well, we are going to get new more Ghostbusters, but it's going to be animated. Maybe we'll talk about that sometime, but I don't know if I have any
It's
more to say to you in your terrible taste in Ghostbusters movies.
so it's interesting. I read something on Wikipedia that the director and Jason Reitman purposely wanted to make this and model this after the animated series, which now it totally makes sense, is because like I believe it, like correct me, like go look up the quote or whatever it is, but they said they wanted to make a really long animated series story. And so I was like, okay, all right, well that makes sense because that's exactly what you did. And now I realize as to like, okay, well, this is not as memorable because it was modeled after a TV show. At least in my opinion. That's just how it fell upon me. So not being the biggest Ghostbusters fan, but have seen the other ones, I could see why I missed out on a lot of stuff. I could see where things fell short for me, but I I even don't even like saying that it fell short. It was just it was there. It was nothing that blew my mind or anything that was like groundbreaking. It was just it was a movie. It was a good one.
I
I'm
got nothing
just
else. I got
so
nothing else for you.
disappointed.
Yes, I am. But that's okay.
Well, on that note, because my co-host is gonna cry himself to sleep on his pillow tonight, we better wrap this up. So until next time, I'm Dan the Part-Time Adventure. That's Mark the Resident Jedi.
Do what you've been doing. Like, subscribe, comment, tell Dan he's wrong. That's like an easy thing to do. And let us know if there's any other movies that we're missing, properties that you'd like us to talk about, top fives that you care that we endeavor to. And we'll see you on the next one.
Do what makes you feel good, and I'll tell you what makes me feel good. It's bustin'. We'll see you next time.